Have you ever wondered why some people seem to absolutely thrive when faced with a challenge while, others seem to crumble at the first sign of difficulty? Or why, when faced with a mistake, some individuals instantly see it as a roadblock, but others view it as like a valuable lesson, maybe even a gift? Today, we're taking a deep dive into something truly fundamental. It's the groundbreaking work of psychologist Carol Dweck and her powerful concept of mindset specifically, the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. We'll be drawing from some essential sources for this deep dive. We've got excerpts from Carol Dweck's own fantastic book, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, and also some insights from Harvard Business School online on how mindsets impact entrepreneurship, plus some really practical, actionable steps from the donor relations group on, well, cultivating a growth mindset. Our mission today is basically to unpack these ideas, pull out the most important insights, and, give you a shortcut to understanding how a simple belief you hold about yourself can profoundly affect every single part of your life. I mean, from your career and relationships to how you respond to just daily challenges. Get ready, because this is the kind of knowledge that can really shift your perspective. So let's start with the basics then. Carol Dweck's core theory suggests that we all hold differing beliefs about how much our basic qualities like intelligence, talent, or even personality can actually change. She calls these fundamental beliefs our mindsets.
And what's truly striking, yeah, is how these beliefs fall into two pretty distinct camps. On one extreme, you have people who believe these attributes are innate and, well, largely unchangeable. That's the fixed mindset. On the other, there are those who believe these attributes can be developed and enhanced through effort and dedication, and that's the growth mindset. And look, this isn't just abstract theory either. It's fascinating, really. Research clearly shows these beliefs actually shape how we live our lives, impacting, everything from our careers to our relationships.
Okay, so for someone with a fixed mindset, what does that really look like in practice? How do they view, I don't know, a new skill they need to learn?
Well, for them, if you don't already possess the skills or the innate intelligence to complete a task, there's effectively no real chance of improvement. Challenges aren't opportunities. They feel catastrophic because they sort of imply a lack of inherent ability.
Like a judgment on them.
Exactly. And mistakes. Oh, mistakes are huge.
Yeah.
What's really profound here is that for a fixed mindset, a mistake isn't just an error. It's perceived as like a permanent mark against your ability. It literally paralyzes you from the very learning process that would lead to improvement. It's almost like self-sabotage in real time. Think about someone viewing, say, a C-plus grade or even just a parking ticket as utter failure and feeling completely paralyzed by it.
Wow.
Their goal in success becomes primarily about proving they are smart, talented, special, maybe even superior. And this often leads to this constant, almost desperate need for validation.
And effort. What about effort?
Effort. Yeah, if you're truly able, you shouldn't need to work hard. That's the underlying belief. There's often a real fear of effort because, well, if you try hard and still fail, what does that say about your innate ability? It's terrifying for them.
That fear of effort is such a critical distinction, isn't it? What about the growth mindset side then? How does that perspective flip things around?
Well, yeah, it completely flips it. With the growth mindset, the core belief is that you absolutely can gain the knowledge and skills necessary to succeed, but it's through effort and dedication. So challenges aren't barriers at all. They're seen as exciting learning opportunities, a chance to really stretch and grow.
And mistakes. They must view those differently too.
Oh, totally. Mistakes don't define you. In fact, they actually empower learning. They're simply a problem to be faced, dealt with, and learned from. A data point, almost. The goal of success shifts entirely too. It's not about proving yourself anymore, but about learning and developing, pushing yourself to become your best. You admire effort, not just raw talent, because you understand that consistent effort is truly the key to mastery. People with this mindset genuinely love working hard and stretching themselves because they know that's where the real progress happens.
Okay, so we've defined what these mindsets are, but the real power, like you said, comes from understanding how they actually manifest in our daily lives. These aren't just abstract ideas floating around. They profoundly shape how we react to the world around us. So let's look at some striking examples from the sources. When it comes to how we respond to setbacks and even praise, what are the most immediate impacts we see?
The contrast is just stark. When faced with failure, individuals with a fixed mindset often internalize it completely. They feel like a reject, a total failure, an idiot, a loser, or just worthless. They might assign blame to others or make excuses. Think about tennis star John McEnroe famously blaming things like sawdust, a fever, or even tabloids for his losses, anything but his own performance needing work.
Right, the external factors.
Exactly. They might believe one test or evaluation can measure you forever. Dweck mentions Loretta, who felt like a failure at age 5, just for not getting into the Eagles' kindergarten class, even despite her later academic success. And then there's the truly tragic example of Chef Bernard Lasso, who committed suicide after losing just a couple of points in a prestigious restaurant guide. He saw himself as a failure has-been, utterly defined by that setback.
Wow, that's incredibly heavy. So a fixed mindset really turns failure into this defining, identity-shattering event. How does a growth mindset navigate that same territory? It must be different.
Completely different. In contrast, those with a growth mindset, even when they're distressed by failure, which is natural, they don't label themselves. They see the setback as an event, something that happened, not who they are. They're ready to take risks, confront challenges, and just keep working. A great example is NFL player Jim Marshall. He famously scored a touchdown for the wrong team on national television.
Oh, wow, I remember that.
Huge public mistake, right? But it didn't define him. It was a problem to learn from, and he moved on. His career wasn't over. And the same pattern holds true with praise, which is really interesting. Studies show praising ability, like telling a child, "You're so smart," actually pushes students into a fixed mindset.
Really? That seems counterintuitive.
It does, but it makes them reject challenging tasks because they fear making a mistake that would expose them as maybe not being so smart after all. It leads to plummeting performance when things get difficult, but praising effort like "you worked really hard" or "I love the new strategy you tried." That fosters a growth mindset. It leads to eagerness for new challenges and actually improves performance over time. The core insight here, is that it's about recognizing the process, the hard work, trying new strategies, seeking input, not just some innate gift.
That's a huge takeaway for anyone, really, but especially parents and educators.
Hmm.
Okay, now switching gears a bit. In the world of sports, there's this pervasive belief in naturals, those folks born with undeniable innate talent. But our deep dive reveals a very different story when mindsets come into play. What did we find there?
Yeah, it's fascinating because it kind of flips the script on what we often assume about greatness in sports. We found that often these naturals who had fixed mindsets, people like baseball player Billy Beane or even John McEnroe, they struggled tremendously when things went wrong, precisely because they simply didn't know how to fail. Their talent had always carried them. McEnroe, even when he was world #1, often folded when the going got really tough. He'd attribute losses to those external factors we talked about, displaying a real sense of entitlement that came from believing his talent alone should guarantee success.
So it wasn't just about lacking humility, it was about the mindset itself hindering him.
Exactly.